Hey everyone, come follow me time again. This week, only Moroni 10. It's a really good week. And then, of course, we've got Christmas week, which I take a break for because you're capable of doing that one by yourself. Well, you're capable of doing all these by yourself, but I like to take a break through Christmas and Easter so that I can enjoy those holidays. I still do my study. I just don't do videos. But I still post stuff. I'm going away Christmas week. So you'll see lots of that stuff on Christmas week anyway. So, hey. Okay, so Moroni 10. Now, just to cover it all, I loved the beginning in the Come Follow Me manual of what it says around Moroni 10, and it is a very, very good point. So it says, the Book of Mormon opens with Nephi's promise to show us that the tender mercies of the Lord are over all those whom he hath chosen because of their faith. And that's 1 Nephi 1:20. So if we go right back to January, we can remember talking about that. I did talk about that. Was it in this book? I'm not sure. Yes, must have been. Should have had a look earlier, didn't I? Shoulda. Let's have a look. 1 Nephi 1:20. Yep. What do you notice most? That's what the theme was. An overarching theme of life for the way of Nephi is you'll notice about reading his account. He lived after the manner of happiness. He lived after the manner of this. He looked for God everywhere. We talked about frequency illusion and the philosophical, not scientific, but it's an illusion of instance of a wrong or misinterpreted perception of a sensory experience. But it's a perception of something objectively existing in such a way as to cause misinterpretation of its actual nature. That's the describer of an illusion. So we see it more, not because that's the philosophical. The scientific is different. Like the philosophical is different. That's the scientific. Aristotle's being scientific. He's a philosopher as well as a scientist. But what do you notice most? It's like I said, when you want to buy a red car that's a particular brand, like when I wanted to buy the Nissan car that I wanted, I saw these cars everywhere. And I hadn't the week before. But now that I was interested in one, they were just everywhere. And I'm glad I got one, but that's frequency illusion. Spiritual frequency illusion allows us to look and see the things that we look for the most. So the overarching way of life for Nephi was that he already had decided he was going to keep looking for those things. So for him to start off saying that the tender mercies of the Lord are over all those whom he hath chosen because of their faith, we've got to look for it. The book closes with a parallel invitation from Moroni, and again we need to look for it. He says, remember how merciful the Lord hath been, in Moroni, that's 10 verses 2 to 3, before he gives that very much account of the famous invitation, just say the famous invitation, because it's going to be insight number 2. But he says that there. So what examples of the Lord's mercy have you seen this year as you've been studying the Book of Mormon? Did you take that frequency illusion and keep it going? That spiritual frequency illusion, that we see it there. It's actually not an illusion because it's there all the time. It's just that we don't notice it. The illusion comes in when we start noticing it, and then we can see all the things that we previously would not have seen. Of the Lord's tender mercies and how the Lord is so merciful to us, and he really, really is. You might think of the merciful way that God led Lehi's family through the wilderness and across the great waters, and the tender mercies he showed to Enos when his soul hungered for forgiveness. Now that one's personal to me because I totally feel that. I feel that continually. Not that I'm begging for forgiveness these days over all the things, but there's everyday forgiveness that's required, everyday turning to the Lord that I have, but I cry out like Enos did for many things, like Zenos did. The prophets cried out to the Lord, and I still do that for many different things. Health and well-being mostly, because it's a scary world right now. Or the mercy he showed to Alma, who was the bitter enemy of the church, who became like one of its fearless defenders. That's a great mercy. There's tender mercies all through the Book of Mormon that you can see, and there's tender mercies all through your life that you will see. Or, your thoughts might be turned to the mercy the resurrected Saviour showed to the people whom he healed the sick and blessed their little children in 3rd Nephi. Perhaps most important, all of this can remind you of how merciful the Lord hath been to you. So how do you notice the Lord's mercy in your life? Go back to 1st Nephi. Live like Nephi did. Like, see it. Ask to see it. When Lehi had the vision, Nephi asked to understand it. And then he said to his brothers about it, and they're like, well, the Lord hasn't shown us. He's like, well, did you think about asking? And they're like, well, why should we have to ask? He should just show us. There's a slight arrogance in that. If you've got your curiosity, ask. Seek it. Look for it. Because it's there. And how can you show the same kind of mercy to others that the Lord shows to you? How can you give that forgiveness? How can you help people in their darkest times, in their times of need, in their times of Christmas need? Got my Christmas t-shirt on, see? It's a Christmas tree. Good angle for me, but there you go. It says Merry Christmas at the bottom. I bought this one. I actually saw this on the it was on the rack outside the shop. You know how they do that? And we were heading to my grandmother's, we'd had the funeral, and we were heading to the undertaker's to say, because she was being cremated, to say the last things for her, and we all just jumped into cars, and I was one of the cars heading there because I had some things to do. There was pearl she was wearing that needed to go to a family member, so they had to come off, that kind of thing. And my cousin and I were the ones that helped close up the casket. No one else, they just all waited outside. But I had my aunt jump in the car with me, my uncle's wife, and she's a lot of fun. Oh, Vix, she's great. And we're driving past the shop. I'm like, oh, I've got to stop on the way back and get that Christmas t-shirt, because it wasn't a ugly Christmas t-shirt, and there's jerseys everywhere, but t-shirts, because it's freaking hot here in New Zealand right now. And this one was a nice one. See, Merry Christmas. It had nice colours. It was black. It was in my size. So I was just like, I have to go back and get that one. So we stopped on the way back. And I call that a tender mercy. So we stopped on the way back, and we both got matching ones. And then by the time we got back to the house, everyone's like, where have you been? And we're like, we found, because my grandma's favourite word was joy. And it was right at the top with a gold star. I was like, we went and found joy. And they're like, what? And it's always been Vix and mine kind of thing, when we're having a dark time. She's Christian. She's not a member of this church, but she's Christian. And we always when we lost our loved one, we went and found joy. And I helped her find joy. She helped me, and then we helped others. Just by being that and by finding joy and looking for joy. So it's just say joy, hope, and love. Merry Christmas. And I thought that was one of the nicest Christmas t-shirts I'd ever seen. I had to get it. It was only $7, so it's a bargain. I paid for hers as well, and it was just great. It was just a great little time after saying goodbye to my grandma. So, how can you show that same kind of mercy to others and to bring joy, especially at Christmas? How can you bring joy to others and to help them feel of Jesus' mercy for them? There you go. So that's Moroni 10 in a nutshell. But we're going to look at some of the verses in there and the other 3 insights. And then we're going to go over next year's material. So hang around. I'll see you soon.